So earlier this year, I was at a conference put on by the Creative Coast. In fact, our last guest was actually Jen Benet of the Creative Coast, and we talked a little bit about the Grit Conference. And I got the pleasure of meeting some young guns from out in Statesboro, Georgia, and they were in this business competition, and they ended up placing in that business competition, getting a grant. They had this cool little grail. It's not a cup, it's not a glass, it's a grail that holds some of your nice spirits. And like these guys just were like magnetic. So I got to meet this guy named Adam Tsang, and so I'm really excited to talk with him for you now about TikTok. So how does this all connect? Adam is a small town serial entrepreneur. I think that's a really good way to captivate this guy, or capture the who this guy is professionally. He finds creative ways to found, charter, and then grow companies. Some of his companies you may know of: the Saucy Shrimp over in Statesboro, Georgia, Pet Public Relations, the aforementioned Whiskey Grill. Animals Volt, also very involved in LinkedIn as a growing influencer in the corporate space, and he's also the host of the weekly business podcast, Adam Tsang. Adams, I'm really excited to have you on to talk shop today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing phenomenal. I think, first off, just thank you so much for even considering me to be a guest for your business podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
100%. And I really try to, from my podcast episodes, try to get on guests that I know that my audience can learn something from, but I would like to be able to put on the student hat too. And man, I'm really excited to get into your content. I know that we've worked with each other some, we follow each other on LinkedIn. You are a all gas, no brakes kind of guy with a lot of talent when it comes to content, working social media. And so you've been posting lately about TikTok lately and some breakthroughs that y'all have had. And y'all been in the game across a lot of different channels for a while. So I'm really excited to get into this because, frankly, I don't know, I can't speak for my audience, but I don't really have a lot of background knowledge on TikTok. I do want to get something a little bit easier in first before we go right into the meat of TikTok and the nuances and something we may not know. Let's start off with something easier. You own several restaurants. I mentioned one of them, but Adam, guys, he owns several restaurants, and now you own a beverage store. Do you also have a beverage store now?
Yep, we do have Blue Mile Wine and Spirits. That's kind of like one of the newer concepts that we recently brought online. It's right here in Statesboro, Georgia, on the Blue Mile. And it is one of the most special projects we've ever put together. It's really different from the rest of the market in terms of kind of like the interior. We took a lot of time to kind of put something really nice out there. So super excited about that.
No, I'm going to be going out to Statesboro for some Georgia Southern football games. I went to Georgia Southern University, so I'm definitely going to need to check out some of your places. But for the more immediate term, I want some foodie tips. All right, I consider you a savant for a guy who opens this many restaurants. You probably have a unique taste and expectations. For our next outing, it could be a business dinner, it could be a romantic evening. You got any foodie tips for us that a lot of normal folk who like going to nice restaurants, but like something they wouldn't think of when it comes to, I don't know, where you go or what you ask for? We need some cool tips here.
Yeah, I think for me, what my strategy is when I ever go to a restaurant, I actually very rarely look at a menu. I almost spend zero time kind of like exploring the menu. I have a tendency to try to create a connection with the server, right? And the server is going to be responsible for guiding me through the experience that's there. And so I always lean towards the server, kind of like getting to know them, and then also kind of what's popular, because the server actually sees every single dish that gets brought out to the table. They will tell you, hey, like, if they are honest, they'll tell you to kind of like move away from certain potential dishes, but also you have to take that with a grain of salt, right? Because the server's responsibility is to sell as much food as they can. So
right.
If you ever get that server that's just pushing down like, yep, you got to get the most expensive there, I think that you have to take it case by case, to say the least.
Okay. No, that's a good idea. So like, I mean, and this is intuitive because I feel like a lot of people will lean on reviews to pick which restaurant they go to in the first place. So why wouldn't you then kind of let someone else who's got the inside knowledge kind of help you get the best experience once you've gotten to the restaurant, right? The best pairings, the best appetizers, the best, and I've seen some good servers who will then ask you follow-up questions to try to help you honestly get the best experience food-wise.
100%. I mean, I love human connection. I think that across all my organizations, I think that being able to build those human connections, whether it would be with team members or customers, I think at the end of the day, we just crave that aspect.
Okay. So I don't know if that segues at all into TikTok because I don't get on TikTok much. I think I understand the basic premise. I'm not sure how much human connection there is, but maybe you could set the table for us because I know there's a lot of ways we could jump into this. Let's just talk about the past for a second, because and I know that you're ever a student and you're still learning about TikTok, but take me back to how and why you first started to use TikTok, maybe even as a user first, and then how you and why you started using TikTok for your businesses.
Okay. So I'm, like you said, I'm all about learning. I think it's one of the most important things that we can do as individuals is to always be on this quest of knowledge. And Whiskey Grail at this point had, started for about 6 months. We had a really great start to the company. However, with any sort of organization, getting the word out about your products, you can have a phenomenal product, but if no one knows about it, it's kind of like a dead end, right? And so that's the thing that, agencies, marketers, even heads of organizations, they're always trying to do is like, how do I create more attention for this product? It had gotten a bit dire, to be honest with you. We were mainly focused on Instagram. We were posting on TikTok every now and then, but that wasn't a true driver of business. And we were kind of like getting low on funds. It was really kind of like a dire situation. In fact, I started pulling staff members from Whiskey Grail and doing stuff at the restaurants, right? Because I wanted to try to see this thing through. I was trying to kind of like adjust accordingly. But we had this piece of content that just hit. And when I say hit, it got about 150, 300,000 views. And it absolutely changed the game, right? That was our first experience with TikTok where we saw, hey, this is a platform that really, really works. Sales went through the roof. We were selling probably 200, 300 grails over a span of like 2 to 3 weeks, and sales were still pretty strong. And that was the moment that I realized the power of TikTok. Move forward a couple, months ahead, we're continuously posting on TikTok, but we weren't getting the engagement that we were looking for. And it wasn't until the past couple weeks where I found a sort of an unlock on the platform. And that's when we saw views ramp up again. And yet again, we have another episode of, just massive amounts of orders, both on the platform as well as on our Shopify. And I think that right now I'm leaning into that, trying to encourage people that you can do this for your small business, as opposed to the first time around, it felt kind of like almost like a roulette. It's like kind of like you pull the lever and you see how the chips land. Right now, there's a unlock to be able to do this for your business. So I'm encouraging people to do this as much as possible.
So going back to your previous point where with Whiskey Grail, y'all did have a TikTok account and you would put some activity there. What was the initial perception when you're trying to figure out where you need to put your precious time and energy? You can't be all things to all people all the time.
Yep.
And you have to prioritize where you're putting out your content. So it sounds like TikTok was kind of on the side, right? That was like one of your sides. What was the perception at the time as to why TikTok should be a backseat to some of your other channels that you were investing in?
That's a great question. I think for me, there's a perception of TikTok, right? Because TikTok came out of this era with Musical.ly, with all these other apps, and it was almost like a childlike thing where people are posting dancing videos, people are posting kind of like funny bits and that sort of thing. And I didn't think it became really recognized as a legitimate platform until I saw the impact of what it did for my business, right? I have to shout out Hunter from Burrowwood. He's another kind of like local entrepreneur, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
He started seeing a ton of success on that platform, and he encouraged me. He kept on saying, "Hey, Adam, like I think that with your product, you could do really, really well on the platform." And he kind of encouraged me to jump onto the platform and kind of like grow it. But again, it's like, I think from a certain perspective, oftentimes marketing, social media is almost like this like black hole where you keep on throwing things and then they kind of like disappear. And it's like, okay, was that effective or was that not effective? Especially in this day and age when there's so much noise, right? Like everybody.
Yes.
So I think it's so important to realize the ways that from a social media perspective, how you can differentiate yourself from the market.
Yeah. Okay. So then it was like this quiet opportunity over here. You had a couple of breakthroughs. You had someone who was encouraging you to try something different. My other part of that was, so that kind of tells me why it wasn't getting priority initially. Mm-hmm. Did you have an experience with TikTok as a user? Were you on TikTok and you just, maybe at first didn't see the value for business, or was TikTok just more of a foreign concept and you heard of TikTok rather than being able to experience it a lot as a user?
So I am, with the things that I do, I'm very heavy into social media.
Okay.
Just because I consume, right? Mm-hmm. When TikTok first came out, I hopped onto the platform and I started studying it. I spent like maybe a week or 2 weeks just understanding my own behavior on the platform. Mm-hmm. And I said that, man, this is so sticky. Like it's so easy just to swipe up to the next video, so forth and so on. And when I realized that, I was like, hey, like, maybe there's a way for marketing to actually happen on the platform since it was such a sticky platform. Okay. And that's what led me to work with it.
And just to recap, because I think you hinted at some of it, but maybe you could, let people know some of the proof of the pudding is for any of your businesses, like in share what you care to share or don't care to share is, what kind of results have your business or businesses that you serve seen on using TikTok for marketing?
Yeah. So the first time around, I think I have to do it in parts, right? Okay. So when your videos are getting 200, 300 views, it's not really doing anything for you as a business.
Okay.
The point in which you are creating engagement and creating people that are part of, are liking your content, when it goes up to 200,000, 300,000 views, you're talking about sales easily in the 5 to 10K, right? Like that's just kind of like just immediate response. And I think that, if you are able to do that, which right now I think is a critical moment in time to be able to achieve that.
Okay.
I encourage everybody that has a business that is able to ship to go ahead and make that step, because there's so much attention driving towards, your website, your store, and your brand. I mean, just on we started this last stint, we started at probably 4,500 followers on TikTok. And I think we're closing in on additional 2,000 to 3,000 within a period of like 1 or 2 weeks. There is I haven't seen any other strategy that has grown that quickly, right? And so when you
literally went viral a couple times, and if you're getting hundreds of thousands of views, you may not be the number one video on TikTok, but that's a viral level of engagement and attention.
Yes. And we have a video right now that's closing in on 1 million views. Like, think about that for any sort of business. I mean, of course, like, the 1 million views, not everybody's going to buy. I want everybody to buy. I would love that. Right.
Yeah.
But, the 1 million views, that means that there's people that are within that 1 million that would care, that will care. Yes. And we are closing, we're closing on that business, and it's been phenomenal. So once I found this, I've been kind of preaching it from like the top of the hill, right? I've been telling people about it as many different entrepreneurs that I know, I think it's more fun to win as a group as
Mhm.
opposed to win alone, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm encouraging, like, whether you have a boutique, whether you have a product, whether you have any sort of company. I even was thinking about doing something for the restaurants, right?
Mhm.
Where we package some sort of sauce and sell it like online. And just because we do that, we have yet another like ability to drive attention.
So you would say, like, for example, with Whiskey Grail, that what y'all were doing on TikTok, first y'all going viral a couple times, and then once y'all have now integrated more of the shopping features, y'all are an e-commerce brand based on the Shopify platform, now integrating TikTok more from the shop from TikTok to the website. Those two changes were basically lifesavers for the company, especially the first one, like you said, because y'all were lean and it was tough. You're a startup, and then TikTok goes viral, and it literally changes the trajectory of the company and led you to really prioritize TikTok. And now it is the kind of the shiny thing at the front and center of what y'all are doing marketing wise. Is that a good characterization?
That is 100% what it is. And so
Okay.
I'll kind of like walk through that journey again.
Mm-hmm.
It right now, the differentiator is that TikTok wants to become known as an e-commerce platform.
Yep.
And because that's the case, and because that is so important to them, if you create a TikTok shop with your products on the platform and you hashtag TikTok shop and you link the product within the video that you're creating, it will literally take that piece of content and push that to as many people
Mm.
as
Mm-hmm.
it converts, right? And so if you have
Yep.
a video that all of a sudden is able to capture the imagination of like the viewers
Yep.
and create engagement and create kind of like, like conversations that are happening, you will see that traffic just grow and grow and grow,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I have that video that has about, close to 1 million views. I think we'll probably touch 1 million by the end of either this week or next week.
Mm-hmm.
But also alongside that, with that, I have videos that have 150,000, 200,000. And think about like the amount of eyes that are on your product now. Like that, I think
Mm-hmm.
that is a definite game changer for any
Yep.
business to have that many eyes on the product.
And it makes sense for me because I think this has been something in the making for a couple years. Is um, e-commerce has been really big for a while, but the uncontested king of e-commerce has been Amazon, right? But Amazon is just a straight, I'm looking for a product. Here's all the results of the different products that I search for, and Amazon has the most convenient purchasing experience in the history of mankind. But I see now more of these other players who they see that there's a lot of money to be made, not just in talking about products and showcasing products and influencing people to buy products, because now you're taking them from your platform where they can learn and experience and review and check out the product. Now they are sending you off somewhere else where they're no longer involved in the process for the actual purchasing of the product. So I saw Google last year make a big point, and they didn't say anything about Amazon, but I could tell that they're directly going after Amazon. They're like, hey, we're the biggest search engine in the world. People
Mm,
still do a ton of shopping for products on Google. We have a much better search engine that people use all the time, except for when they're searching for products. Then they hop it over to Amazon. So they're now transforming their entire search experience to make it centered around where you can learn everything that you want to know about a product and then purchase the product through a Google centric experience. Facebook and Instagram, y'all been, you as an e-commerce and a merchandiser, a retailer, know that obviously this has been a feature of Facebook for years, Facebook Shop and integrating that. I'm seeing more in it. I feel like, TikTok, for as effective as their algorithms are for people who want to get on there and advertise, they don't want to just advertise, they want to sell. So now it sounds like TikTok is closing the loop. They're not kicking you out to a different experience from TikTok. You can increasingly, and I think this is the future, guys, for any of y'all who are in e-commerce or are in that B2C consumer products world. You got to be really good at social media. It sounds like you really need to take a good look at TikTok, and you need to create the seamless purchase experience, or at least you need to consider it, because the fewer clicks to purchase, everybody knows that's usually you don't want to make it like no clicks or one click, but if you can go from 5 to 4 or 4 to 3 or even 3 to 2, those are shown statistically to really help you move products. So to that point, I wanted to ask you one other question on this is, it's been the fastest growing marketing channel for years. Everybody knows that. Even if you're not on TikTok or you don't like TikTok or whatever, you've heard of TikTok. It is like the shiny new, kid on the block for 2 or 3 years now. It now has over 1 billion active users. When I hear TikTok, most people, when they hear TikTok, they hear Gen Z, right? Someone who is in the teenager high school area, up to the early to mid 20s. I think technically the millennial generation would be starting in the late 20s, but even some of those really young millennials, when we hear TikTok, we hear of folks who are under 30 and are single. Have you noticed other demographics getting on TikTok, being engaged? And if so, maybe you could highlight some of your experience, on what you're seeing.
Yeah. So I would say that, a couple years ago when the platform first started, that's absolutely 100% true. It was very much like, teens dancing, lip syncing, and that type of content. However, as of late, I believe that it's changed. There's something that is known as bourbon talk, which is I'm familiar with just because, bourbon is something that Whiskey Grill is specifically focused on. There's creators on that platform that have 2 million followers, right? And all they do, shout out to one Big Pikey, I think that's his name. What he does is he takes two liquors and he uses a frother, and he froths one of them and he doesn't froth the other one, and he basically drinks both of them and see which one tastes better. And he has 2 million people that are following him, right? And so I would say that it is no longer a platform that is only contained to your teens. You mentioned Gen Z. How do you define Gen Z? I probably should know that.
Well, like I said, is when I think of Gen Z, and I actually like getting into define home. Actually, I just popped it up because I actually like to be precise about that, because for the longest time everybody who looked or acted young was called a millennial, and I'm like, well, that's actually not very accurate. So it is frustrating. So I am on Pew Research, and I want to see what they say on like who the millennials. So according to Pew Research, that a year ago, anyone born between 1981 and 1986 is considered a millennial. And then they would say anyone born from 1997 onward is a new generation.
Got you.
That's news to me, by the way, because I always considered anybody born basically before 9/11, before the 21st century, to be a millennial. So that would make it a full 20 years, basically 1980 through 2000 are a millennial. And then 2000 onward would be the next generation, because we're still within that, or maybe we just started on the generation after that. But yeah. So anyways, I know I gave a really long, lengthy answer, but I actually like to nerd out on the stuff. Is depending on how you define it, it could be 1997 onward to today, or it could be someone who's basically born in the 21st century.
So I think, with that considered, with the facts that are out there, TikTok has now transcended all of that, because as what I see is people want the entertainment. They want to be entertained. They want to, stay on top of trends. Like it's something that this is how people are getting their news these days, right? If you notice, cable TV has struggled in recent years because they aren't able to bring in new people into their ecosystem, because we are such a on-demand kind of like type of service. My mom and my dad, even, like, they're kind of like scrolling and watching videos, right? And so that mechanism is still the same, where we want to be entertained, and TikTok is just another way for them to do it. And that's where a lot of the content is being created.
Do you think that over time that, and you can even put a number on it if you have an educated guess, is over time that TikTok will kind of join the mainstay group of social media, and that, like, what I'm getting at is, they all have their niches and stigmas, but lots of people across all kinds of demographic groups have Facebook and Instagram. Lots of people across all demographics and age groups have YouTube. If you get to other, and it's the same thing with Twitter. Twitter really has, or now it's called X, has all kinds of different demographics. It's not really as much demographic specific. You think that TikTok is well on its way to becoming just like all the other ones, where you've got everything from a 15-year-old high school kid all the way up to a 60-something-year-old person will have TikTok?
I believe that from what I have experienced, that we are, if we're not already there, we're going to get close.
Okay.
I just think that there is such a capture of our attention. And here's another thing too. It's like, previously these social media networks were built mainly on like knowing each other, right?
Yeah.
But TikTok kind of like blew through that and no longer cared if you knew somebody. What they did was they just like gave you videos that you liked, and if you liked a specific type of video, they would give you more videos that were similar to that, and that is one of the reasons why they rose to as quickly as they did. Right.
Good point.
And understanding kind of like the entertainment value is like, in this day and age, if you don't have anything to do, in this day and age, it is so easy to just get trapped in that rabbit hole because the algorithm is so good.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Like you said, Facebook and Instagram, all the way back to its inception 20 years ago, was still built on digitizing and connecting people who were already connected somehow in real life. Whereas TikTok, I feel like, even goes a step further than YouTube, because YouTube and Twitter were more about following prominent influencers. There was influencer or content creator centric rather than individual people centric. TikTok, I feel like, even went past that, and it's really just kind of the viral content centric. It's not even about following a particular channel as much as it is just whatever the hot content is.
Sure. And you're seeing people rise from it, right? Like, even if you're able to consistently create on that platform, or if you have like a story that's strong enough where people want to follow you, then that following will come. But it's all about kind of like how you nurture that to create value for your business, because that, at the end of the day, is why we're here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I brought Adam on. Like, we went deep and wide, and so I'm gonna put Adam on the spot in a couple ways on this TikTok thing. I'm gonna ask him some hot viral questions on TikTok for marketers. But first, let's catch a quick message from today's episode sponsor, Soul Insights.
This episode is sponsored by Soul Insights. Is your business looking to hit the next level of growth? For many businesses, they know they need to spend more on marketing, but don't want to simply shoot in the dark. They want a smart, data-driven path to solid growth. If this is you, then Soul Insights can help you to identify, attract, and retain ideal customers. Soul Insights is a strategic marketing agency which helps small and mid-sized businesses understand their best customers, who they are, their shopping behavior, and acquire new best customers based on that data. Oh, and it's all measured and tracked to ensure you get more profit bang for your marketing buck. Head to soulinsights.com right now and take the 90-second quiz to find your path to the next level.
Adam, we covered a lot of ground. I feel like people they're smelling what you're cooking, to use a dining reference with you and all your restaurants. I'm sure the next one's coming out, right around the corner. Anyways, okay, so let me ask you a two-part question. So someone's now hearing you talk about the magic of TikTok, and they're going to get on it. First part, what is the best way to use TikTok as a user?
As a user. Are we saying that they are a business and they want to become, just as a user?
No, yeah. Keep it basic. It's like someone's like, okay, let me just see if I like TikTok, period, before I really get into. And like you said, you got on TikTok, you were really trying to understand it, probably with business in mind. But just plain, if you want to get on TikTok and enjoy TikTok for TikTok's sake, what is the best way to TikTok as a user?
I think it's one of those things where it's so easy. You launch the app, right? And then you type in something that you care about in the search bar, and it will show you a list of all like videos that have performed well. And you watch those videos and you either like them or you skip on to the next one.
Okay.
Just those two functionalities basically allow the algorithm to learn who you are and deliver better content to you. Because
Okay.
what they want to do is they want to make it as sticky as possible.
Okay.
And so the best way to use it, I would say, is just to simply turn on the app, do a search, look at a few videos, like it a few times, like the ones that you want, and just continue to scroll.
What are the rules of the videos? I don't want you to go to business hat yet, but like, is it a rule like where they have to be 30 seconds? Do they have to be under a minute? What are the rules on like video length or, whatever?
I think it's changed now. I don't know if there are any requirements, but I think that right now they've extended the video time to as long as 10 minutes. I've started watching like certain comedians. Like it's just a way for them to break through the noise, right? And it's edited very well, but it's like a 10-minute clip of me.
That's like full on YouTube, because like the thing with like Instagram, with Reels, you can make them longer, but like a lot of the rules around Instagram stuff is it has to be under 60 seconds. Okay, so it sounds like it's a very strong algorithm. It's actively learning you, and it wants to get you to the point where you're just scrolling, and it's the whole sensation where you're sitting there for 20 minutes and you didn't even realize you were there for 20 minutes because it understands your preferences and it knows how to feed you instantly this viral content over and over and over again.
Correct.
Okay. And then now let's talk about the business side. Like what is the best way to maybe to get started as a business brand who wants to use TikTok to grow their business?
Okay. So this will depend on the type of business that you are in. The first step of this is anybody that has a product that they ship needs to explore something called TikTok Shop. Okay. And previously, I thought that there was like some sort of requirement in terms for the amount of followers that you need to have. But I've realized that there is no requirement there. You can launch your shop almost immediately. And it makes sense because, again, they want to become known as an e-commerce platform. So as a business, you need to find a way where you can have a product that can ship within 3 days. Now, I think the 3-day requirement is actually something super interesting because what they wanted to do was prevent things like drop shipping. So they care about the customer experience. So our responsibility of being on TikTok Shop is when that order does come in, we have 3 days to turn that product around and have that be scanned and going out. Okay. So step one is, okay, I want to have that product in inventory level in which I can basically deliver. And the second part of that is I think that needs to be kind of like on the front end of like, you want to go ahead and create the shop, get the items in there. It's going to have like some like application requirements, like business license, so forth and so on. But once you have that done, it's just off to the races.
Okay. Makes sense. And then like, I guess as you start to understand the TikTok styling and what gets the most attention and most hits, that will kind of help guide their content styling if they can align their brand and what is on brand for them with also what just works well on TikTok. And then if they have their house in order commerce wise with the TikTok Shop and inventory levels and turnaround time, that's where they can really start to, get some wins, right?
Correct. And I want to share this piece with you just because like I think it's also a very important part. So, I obviously have been on the platform for probably an extended period of time. And we were pushing out videos for like during this time pretty consistently. And, the videos weren't getting the engagement that I wanted to. However, now that I've found this kind of like unlock, I'm honestly just taking the old stock and then basically putting it on there, not having to go out and shoot more video. So thinking of creative ways in which you can either recycle like old content
or repurpose,
repurpose it or DJ it for like the audience. I think that is really at the core of like, a successful marketing strategy. Yep. And just to give you a reference point, this TikTok that has like 800, 900,000 views, I had posted it before and it got like 1,000, like maybe 2,000. Yep. And just because like, again, it's tied to the shop, now it's really gaining a lot of traction and that's what you want.
And I'll tell, folks is, A lot of the stuff is multi-purpose because so much of this short form video and vertical orientation is like all of the platforms have something for it. So if you're a business and brand and you've been doing YouTube Shorts or you've been doing Instagram Reels, you can absolutely repurpose that. As far as my understanding is for TikTok. So it's not like you got to start from a blank slate. If you've been doing some social media marketing and content production, even if it was not perfect for that, you could clip stuff that you've been putting on YouTube or on Facebook, and you can find a way to make it work for TikTok. I don't know if it'll necessarily get you 200,000 views like Adam, because I'm asking him to make it easy for us to get started. That doesn't mean you're going to be able to do all the cool stuff that they've done right off the bat. But I digress. Let me ask you a question moving forward now, looking in the future. 5 years from now, what do you think smart small business brands will be doing with TikTok? What do you think it looks like in 2028?
It's so hard to tell. This landscape is changing so fast. I think as businesses, we just have to be able to see opportunities and adapt accordingly.
Which businesses do you think will be most active on TikTok? Like, maybe not exactly how it'll work, but like, what brands do you think over time will get on the train? What kind of businesses?
I think anyone who has a product, right?
Okay.
I don't because what TikTok has that a lot of the other platforms don't have is this attention. Like, people like the platform because of the entertainment that is delivered on that platform. And as long as TikTok is very skillful in the way that they manage that and don't allow too many ads, right? Because that's the thing that turns us off as like people that use the platform. It's like once you start hitting with ads, like you're like, all right, well, I'm done with this, right? Like, it's too much for me.
Yep. I even noticed, like, I can even like peg them on how they're doing it, like with Instagram, whether it be stories or reels. I think once every 4 swipes, I'm going to hit with an ad. It's usually the ratio that they have right now.
And I think that's a problem, right? I think that engagement will definitely go down on the platform. And of course, they want to make money. And I think that that's the other side of it. But I think what is smart about the way that TikTok is approaching it is once they are the e-commerce platform, I think that there's just a ton of value then that the company can utilize for that, right? And so whether it be through economies of scale, whether it be like, a percentage or whatever it is, I think that at that point, that's when they're going to strike.
Okay. Final TikTok question.
Okay.
What is Adam Tsang's biggest warning for businesses when it comes to TikTok?
I think my biggest warning. We still good? Hey,
yeah.
Hang on just a second. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
I think my biggest warning to people that are leveraging the platform, that are interested in TikTok, is to not jump in when the time is right. I think right now specifically there's a timing feature that you have to go ahead and go for. And I think that of course it's scary, right? Like, we have limited amount of time, we have limited amount of resources that we can deploy towards something. However, when you have someone that has done it and that believes in it, and that's one of the reasons why I keep like trying to tell people about this, regardless if I meeting them for the first time or other business owners. I encourage people to leverage this platform because I've seen it work for myself. And that's one of the things that I'm really big on is I'm not going to try to sell you on something that I don't believe in. Right. And I think right now, if there's any warning that I have, is to say like, hey, this platform is just for lip syncers and dancers, and not realizing that, hey, there's business that can be done on this platform as well.
There you go. There you go. If you want to get the big wins, it helps to be the first mover. If you wait until everybody else is already in the train, you're going to have a very, very muddled pool with which to work. So, Adam, thank you very much for helping us get oriented around another social media the channel that we need to be aware of. And here's the thing, though, is I like to do in the channels, I like to educate you and your option. I usually would tell clients or just anybody who is asking my 2 cents is, at a small business stage, be masters of few rather than jacks of all trades. So, you might need to determine that, hey, maybe I need to experiment with TikTok a little bit, and then maybe I'll do that instead of Instagram or instead of Facebook. You can't do 5 channels really well at once. You've got to kind of nail down what is your lane. But TikTok, like Adam said, it's a huge burgeoning opportunity. It's obviously worked very impressive results for you and Whiskey Grill, your restaurants, now your beverage store, and you have a great PR firm, Pepper, that you do, it's Pepper, it was Pet PR that you do great work for. So that, and I know you could take me in 15 different directions, Mr. Serial Entrepreneur, but how can folks connect with Adam Tsang if they'd like to learn more or maybe work with you?
Feel free to reach out to me. My Instagram is Adam Tsang. That's the letter U, KNOW, Adam, TSANG. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I am always willing to speak with other entrepreneurs. That's something that I'm very, very passionate about. That's why I'm in the incubator space at Georgia Southern in Statesboro. And I think for me, any way that we can connect, I'm more than happy to do so, and more than happy to have a conversation.
Absolutely. So you could find him on Instagram. You could find him on LinkedIn. You could find him, I'm sure, on TikTok. I mean, like I said, I personally really like what he's done with Whiskey Grill, but he's got a bunch of businesses that I need to explore and check out. So, Adam, thank you very much for joining Good Morning Market. It was an honor and a pleasure. A lot of insights that we got together, which is exactly what I hope to achieve on these episodes. So have yourself a great day, a great week, and go make a TikTok or something.
Awesome. Thanks. Appreciate it, Philip. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.